Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the best hour you've ever wasted. This is the Just Talking podcast. I'm hosting the episode today alongside a few other people, but we're going to get to that in just a minute. Let's get talking. Okay, guys, this is the Just Talking podcast. I'm hosting today's episode. Although we have two of our hosts in the chat today, I'm still hosting it because this is going to be sort of like a "What Are We Doing" episode. So, returning to the Just Talking podcast as a host, we have Izzy. Say hi. And Drew. Say something.
Something.
All right. And joining us is
Alayna.
And for the record, because I know this is going to be tossed around, you and Drew are married. So
Yes.
yeah, so that's that. Can you guys explain, Drew? Can you explain the reason why we have not been on?
Well, it's been a mixture of people not showing up, and unfortunately, we've had to release them from our service. And so, currently, we are trying to get people to join us under a contract so that we can, ensure that we have a full group of people ready to do the podcast with us every week.
And occasionally you'll see some of our former co-hosts on, like Potato, Lewis, and I think those are the only two that have stayed. Oh yeah, and Zeke's gonna occasionally show up too. But yeah, so what I'm thinking, because this is pretty much just a thrown together episode, because I was like, hey, I'm just gonna throw a promotion on our Saturday stream. I was like, I'm just gonna throw a Just Talking podcast returning Monday thing at 4 p.m. Eastern, just as like a quick little thing. So we're back. Hopefully we'll be doing this every week. Fingers crossed. But yeah, every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, you'll be joined by myself, Drew, Izzy, and Alayna temporarily until we get the rest of our cast. But typically that's what our episode makeup's going to be, even whenever we do have other cast members. It's typically what our makeup's going to be, with occasionally Drew and Izzy switching out as host. But yeah, so I'm actually really excited to get started back again. This is, it's not new for me, because this is not the first time that I've had to stop doing the Just Talking podcast and then return. But what has anything happened that is interesting to you guys this week, or anything at all? I know Drew and Alayna have something to talk about.
Are you talking about
Yeah, your wins. You're 29
Oh
and
yeah,
0.
that 39 and 0. Yeah,
39.
So we got Rocket League the other day, and Rocket League's a game that I've been keeping tabs on for a few months now since it came out. It's what got me into soccer, and we recently got Game Pass, and it was on Game Pass, so I'm like, hey, this looks cool, let's get it. And so we decided to play a tournament, and Alayna, for some reason, decided to do a 36-week season, which means
Wow.
39 games.
Was
you
that
get the two playoffs and then the championship.
was that like just was that just a random thing that you did, or were you guys like, all right, we're gonna fully dedicate to this 20 or this 39 tournament? Like, what?
It started out as like a random, hey, this is cool, let's do this. And then it turned out, when we got like 5 games in and didn't lose one, we then decided, screw it, we're going to make this a perfect season.
Yeah,
it started out with a 9-week season though.
Because Drew and Alayna were like, yo, Xander, you should join us. Because I was like, yeah, Rocket League's fun. They're like, yeah, Xander, you should join us. And I'm like, yeah, see, the problem is I'm not really that good.
You don't need to be good. You just got to know how to hit a ball.
Well, I do know how to hit a ball, but like, I don't know what my problem is, honestly. I mean, I know for me,
For playing on an Xbox controller, you have no excuse.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I think I would be like a serious handicap for your team. No joke. I'm not good at video games. That's the one thing I've learned. I'm not good at video games, and I have a video gaming YouTube channel that officially launched. Well, this is coming out Monday, so yeah, if it officially launched the day we're recording this, but it officially launched yesterday for those of you that are listening to this. But yeah, I'm not that good at video games. I've kind of learned.
I mean, there's always room for improvement with everyone.
That's true. That's true.
Ah,
The
definitely.
pickup on the game is very quick, actually. The controls are rather simple, but there is an advanced tutorial where you get into like actually using your rockets to fly across the frickin' stadium. And
yeah, I know the controls, and I went through the tutorial, but I'm not that good at it, as surprising as it is.
I mean, everyone has their games that they're perfect at, and then the games that are just ungodly controllable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, has anything interesting happened with you, Izzy? Since you were last on the podcast, at least.
Oh wow, that feels like a
long
while ago
time.
actually.
Yeah.
Obviously for the past week I have been off of my school, which means I get to chill and not do things.
School's out.
Honestly, I'm trying to kind of think, but not much is really coming up. I live kind of a basic life.
I'm the same way. Like, nothing interesting ever happens to me. I mean, I did kind of try to shoot a video podcast for a new YouTube channel that I'm working on. See, I'm working on like 8 different YouTube channels. Like, I'm working so hard to get so many different things working, and it's really fun, but it's hard. Because, see, me and my brother have a gaming YouTube channel that I was talking about earlier that we recently launched. It's Specta Gaming. And then me and former Just Talking podcast host Lewis, along with other former Just Talking podcast host from a long time ago, Maverick, who's now going by his real name of Wesley Woods. We're all three, working together to put something together for a new channel, a video podcast series, and it's really interesting, to be honest. Trying to get that stuff set up. But I feel like so I'm doing both of those, Digital Lake Media, and then my own channel. It's 4 different channels that I'm trying to work on. So it's interesting.
I will say you are a master multitasker, Xander. I would not be able to I can barely handle 2 projects at once, I will admit.
Yeah, it's incredibly insane, and I have to thank Drew and Zeke, because Zeke is the president and Drew's both the DCPI and CPPO of Digital Lake Media. So I'm just sitting here, I'm like, hey guys, here's an idea, and then they will just respond and give me their opinions. There's a lot of interesting things. For the record, you guys should totally watch Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Wednesday, Drew will be doing a live stream for Digital Lake Media, handing off a few announcements, giving a few updates, and this will be a bi-weekly thing. Like, he will be doing it every other week, so that's going to be fun. Drew has another thing. But yeah, so wow, it's been a while since we've been doing this since we last did this podcast. It's actually quite interesting and quite fun to be back. I'm trying to think of things to talk about too. I'm like, I forgot how to do this thing. Does anybody have any stories or anything in particular that you guys want to briefly talk about? I'm like literally sitting here trying to think. I'm like, it's been a while since I did the podcast last. This is not very organized. I literally messaged them last night. I was like, hey guys, we're gonna be back doing the podcast again Monday or Sunday, and it's coming out Monday. And they were like, okay. I was like, all right, let's go. Because I knew that Alayna was like really looking forward to doing it. So because Alayna was like, yeah. She kept on messaging, or she kept on, typing in our chat. She was like, are we doing it this week? Are we doing it this week? Are we doing it this week? And I'm like, we need to finally do it. I was like, I was half expecting her to message right as I was typing. I half expected her to message right then and there and be like, hey, are we doing a recording this week?
Well, I kind of figured. Drew tells me about everything most of the time, so I'm like, we doing one this week? Because my work schedule is a little crazy, so I'm like, am I going to work? Am I going to do a podcast? It's like,
Yeah,
You gotta pick one or the other.
yeah, you can't be working and doing a podcast simultaneously. I think people have probably tried that. Zeke plays video games while we do our podcasts, so that's interesting. I think that's why Zeke's not on this episode, because this is a semi-serious episode. All jokes aside, he is the president of Digital Lake Media, so I probably need to shut up. We all know who has the real power here. So yeah, is there any stories or anything that you guys want to talk about? Why don't we let Sushi Roll or Alayna talk about some stuff about her, since she is new to the podcast?
I don't know. I'm married to Drew.
Well, like, tell us a little bit about yourself, like what you enjoy doing or what you do for a job.
That's an idea.
I work at Sonic and I like playing video games. That's pretty much the only two things that I do with my life.
Yeah, just don't
it's
get
either
us started on
Fallout or
Briars.
Rocket League.
Other than putting up with Drew, but that's a whole nother topic. Yeah, this is interesting, because this is interesting for me because I've been doing a lot of stuff this week. Like, this week has literally just been filled with Digital Lake Media stuff, and then I was like, it'd be nice to return to the Just Talking podcast. So then I was like, all right, we're doing this episode, and then they were literally like messaging me. They're like, hey, Xander, we're supposed to be recording. I'm like, oh shoot, all right, I'm popping in just a minute, because like I had forgotten about it, and I was messaged this morning. Somebody messaged something asking, oh yeah, Izzy was asking what time. So then I had messaged back the time. I had totally forgotten about it at that point. But then after that, I had forgotten, and I was like, oh shoot, it's 3:00 after I saw the messages. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I need to totally join the chat and do the podcast. So this week has actually been really busy for me.
I'm gonna let you in a little secret here. Just a little Izzy Just Talking podcast secret. I also forgot that we were recording today. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh yeah, time to do things. And I'd gone into town and I was doing all these nice little things. Because the thing is, on our servers, we start server time 3 p.m., but over here in Great Britannia, we start at 8 p.m. usually for me. And so I was walking through town at about maybe 5:30. No, I was walking through town and I was like, hold on. Because I got a ping on my phone from something, and I checked, and I decided to check Discord, and I was like, oh, we're supposed to be recording today. I'd completely forgotten. I was like, hey, what time are we recording? Because it's been so long since we had last recorded that I'd forgotten the kind of time altercations from server time to like time over here. And so I was like, hey, what time are we recording? So I'm very glad to know that I'm not the only one who had forgotten.
Yeah, I forget about things really easily.
Oh gosh, what are you worse at? Remembering little things like dates and times, or remembering names?
Names. As surprising as it is,
Names for sure.
Names.
I am the thing is, I can remember useless numbers and dates and times. Usually, I say usually. My memory isn't absolutely perfect, as anyone who knows me will know. I can't remember people's names. I'll be talking to someone for an hour, and they'll be like, "Hey, what's your name again?"
See, for me, memory works really weird. Unlike you, I will not remember a person's name even if they told me 5,000 times. If I don't know you for more than a week, expect to have your name forgotten. But for me, with like game controls, I know the controls to all the games I've ever played in my life. I couldn't tell you what they are. I'd have to like get in the game and show you the buttons themselves as I'm playing it. But I know all the controls.
It's like instinctual almost. It's like you just know. Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same in that respect. Obviously, I think you're most likely definitely more expertise at video games than I am. It seems like you have a much wider kind of knowledge and much more experience than I would.
But thing is, unless I start making money from this, all that knowledge is rather useless. Good for free time.
Well,
it's hard to start doing that whenever we it's hard to get members that will commit.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
a hard thing. And we're experiencing that with more than just the Just Talking podcast. I don't know how many of you have noticed that watch the Rise at Midnight live streams that we do here on Digital Lake Media. There's been a lot of member changes. Matter of fact, Drew was on Friday. Yeah, Friday. Drew was on the Death Strikes, and I wrote up this little description. I was like, yeah, nobody's gonna want to do this. And then so I finally had the GM. The GM was picked out, and then players started to funnel in. I'm like, this is actually better than I expected. And then some of those players left, and one of those players left just just Roll20 and didn't even ever join Discord. And I was just like, well, that's kind of pointless. Let's figure out what we need to do next. And then as I was, trying to get some of that stuff, I was just like, well, maybe I can just ask Drew to join in, because I know Drew said that he wanted to try out Pathfinder. So then I got Drew in, and then I asked my players for my Saturday game. I was like, hey, so do any of you want to try out Pathfinder? And they're like, sure. And I was like, good. So now the GM left, and I'm like, well, I have to find.
Side note, the recording went off without a hitch. Didn't know what I was doing half the time, but damn, was it funny. I remember losing my freaking mind at one point. Listen in if you want to know what was so funny.
hey, little space filler feel just there. I absolutely just smashed my lip into my own table. Yip-de-doo. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why don't I tell my audio's gone? Hold up. Can anyone still hear me? I think my audio's died.
Okay, well, apparently I cut out. Did you guys hear that entire thing that I said, or did it cut out?
You cut it after I started speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so I was talking about the how it's hard to manage multiple people, and that how we have problems with more than just the Just Talking podcast, Rise Minute Gaming Group. So what was Friday? You were a part of Death Strikes, Drew. What was your favorite part of that?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say here. This is rather family friendly.
Yeah, this is more family friendly than that. Yeah, I don't think you should. I know what you're about to say, but yeah,
Yep.
that interesting part of the stream. Yeah,
I mean, it got a lot of good chuckles out of everyone, so I think the
it's okay.
object served its purpose.
Envy, who was playing with you guys, he's in my Saturday game. He tried to seduce a goblin during a fight, so that's
Of course he
interesting.
would.
He pulled out his sword and went at the goblin. Yeah, that's D&D for you. Yeah, they're rated TV. They have a PG-13 rating on that game because it's an early evening game compared to you guys. I was like, hey, you guys can say whatever you want because it's late at night. So, and it's on a Friday, so that the day also makes a difference. But yeah, that was interesting. What was your second favorite part, Drew?
I'd have to say when we got our first encounter, that was rather exciting. I half tempted to tell the guys to pick me up and throw me like a spear, since being a dwarf, people can easily pick you up and throw you fairly large distances. And we were fighting, I believe it was 3 scarab beetles, but these things were massive. Like, they were about 13 feet long, something like that. I don't know, but it was a really good game, though I'm pretty sure I died at one point.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep track of all the numbers.
It's okay. Saturday, I had a TPK Saturday, but then I brought 3 of the 4 people back to life. And then our player Sushi was like, so, since you killed my character, would you like for me to roll one up? I'm like, yeah, we'll introduce him at the end of the session. You can roll him up. And then halfway through the next little bit, he's like, he was like, I'm done. You can add my character now. I was like, all right, let's do this now. So then I set that up. And that was interesting. My first TPK I've ever done. It was fun. It was very fun. I had tried to do a TPK before. I think me and the ADM at the time was like, yeah, we could do a dream cycle where they die. And I was like, all right, that's fun. So then we tried to do it and didn't work out for us because at the time they had 2 clerics, I think, and then a rogue and then somebody else. They had 2 clerics. Like there was no way they were gonna live. There was no way they were going to die. So we had just been like, all right, it's good.
See, the problem with our group was we had a shapeshifter, a rogue, and a paladin. We didn't have any way of healing ourselves. So as soon as we came across the 3 scarab beetles, we looked at the bestiary, we noticed everything we needed to find, and then no one said anything for about 5 seconds, and I'm like, we're all gonna die, aren't we?
I think one of my favorite parts about being a DM is being able to, have that power of, I can totally either nerf my monsters or I can make them kill my people. And I do something different than a lot of other DMs. I just wing it as far as stats go. I wing it. I don't sometimes I'll look up the stats and I'm like, all right, this is pretty relative to what I need to know. And then I'll just, make up stuff as we go. Like I don't really actually keep track of their hit points. I know how much they have to start with, so I'm like, all right, this is how much they have. If they get hit this much, they get hit this much, and then I just kind of wing the numbers a little bit and improvise a lot more than most other DMs I know. That's one thing I've recently picked up over my last 2 sessions. I was like, I could really just throw numbers out randomly, and my players will believe that they are exact. And even Saturday, whenever I was doing my TPK, I didn't originally plan a TPK, but then after one of them was like, "Oh my god, I'm down," I was like, what if I do a TPK? What if I try to see what I was trying to do? I was trying to get them to get knocked out, and so that they could have their people brought back, or so that the people could push a wall and make the wall fall over. But it was a 2,000-foot wall, so they didn't really work out. So I had to have them find a way to make them come back to life and make the wall not work out, but still have them still have the party members arrested for whatever reason. That was interesting.
Sounds like it.
The wall
what was the
eventually
wall
collapsed. It was like a protection of the town. It was like the town made a wall, and then I, kind of accidentally threw in a political reference whenever we were doing the,
You made a Trump joke, didn't you?
See, I yelled out. One of the people yelled out, "A wall should not divide us," or something like that. One of the players goes, "Huh, that reminds me of something. That reminds me of something I've heard before." The DM totally did not take that from real life, and I was like, "No, I did not do that intentional."
Oh no!
I didn't do that intentionally, but they probably assumed that I took the inspiration from real life. But they're now in jail. They have to try to find a way out of jail, and then I don't know what's going to happen afterwards. It's going to be interesting to see what happens afterwards.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Izzy, you sound like you have something wrong. What's up?
Pardon?
You said, "Oh no, what's wrong?"
She was referring to what I was talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just you never involve politics, especially when it's on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
9
That's
times
like a
out of 10,
cardinal rule.
someone will go,
I
actually.
mean, Trump and Hillary Clinton are running for president again next year, so this should be fun.
Ooh, US politics.
Without getting into politics, because I know that's one of our big rules here is that we don't get into politics. There's other contenders, and it looks like from numbers already that there's probably going to be a pretty obvious pretty obvious run for Trump's money with Bernie Sanders. So he raised
Kanye 2020.
with Bernie Sanders because he raised how much? It was like $3 million in 3 hours. It was like ridiculous.
Jesus. I wish I had that.
He announced his campaign, and within 3 hours he had $3 million. The numbers might be a little different than that. I think it might have been within his first day he had 3 million. I think that's a more accurate number. Yeah, within his first day he had 3
Hell,
million.
maybe I should
I
run
don't
for
think that'd be a
president.
good idea.
I know, right?
Drew.
And as
I know, I can't. I'm not 40, and I don't
I
have a
don't
law
think we
degree.
need one.
You don't need a law degree, and you have to be
You gotta be 36 to run for
35?
president and be a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
And as US politics enters the match, Izzy leaves the chat.
Izzy's from the UK. We have a fun time with Izzy talking about UK politics too, because it's wait a minute. So did what's the update on whatchamadoodle?
Article 13.
Article 13. Wasn't it eventually? Didn't they end up passing it? But it was like super revised.
Well, if you'll excuse me with all profanity on this podcast, gotta keep it child friendly, but I have no clue what the fuck is going on at this point. It was like, there was a vote in January, I think, and it was like, they were talking about it, and it was like supposed to be, they were sorting out the final words and to make sure that there were no loopholes in it, because that's law. And then 11 countries actually said, actually, we want outie, this ain't chill, bye fam. And so now we're having another revote this March, I think it is. I think. Don't go off of what I'm saying, my fellow Europeans, because I'm really confused and politically inaccurate. But I think there's going to be like a revote in March or something to... I'm not sure if it's to see if this will even be happening, or if it's just to try and reword it again. I'm not sure. I'll do my research for the next episode, but like at the moment I'm just really bloody confused.
Yeah, and like we have said before multiple times, this affects more than just the UK. This affects the entire world, because if anything shows, political or politics pretty much goes like this: one country does something, another country follows. So to the
It just
US
makes it easier for the lawmakers, because if they stoop to the lowest common denominator, they don't have to make things. They don't have to try to write up legislation for their own country. They don't have to think of a way that it would affect them better. If they just take the wording from the other countries and make it their own, problem solved. Thing is, though, they're only doing that because they're greedy.
Indeed.
And honestly, why reword it if countries are already leaving the agreement? Just abandon it, for the love of Christ.
It's just because big corporations want the big dollars, or as we would say, the big euros, the big pounds, because us Brits can't decide on money. It all just comes down to corporate greed and who really is behind all this. It's like, who's really pulling the strings behind politics? The big companies who want the big dollars.
Yeah, and that's I think that's pretty much how it is here in America too. I mean, if you look at anything here, look at our president, who is pretty much giving a lot of benefits to bigger companies for absolutely nothing. I mean, and where was it? It was somewhere in the U.S. Amazon tried to move its headquarters, and they were told that they could do it tax free. And they got a few benefits from the town, that being one of them, for putting their services in the city, and they gave them a few things. But I mean, if you think about it, yes, they are boosting our economy, but also our economy.
We all have to pay taxes. Like, come on.
Yeah, our economy wouldn't be as bad off if they didn't have cuts like that. Like, they had to pay literally zero for like the next 5 years or something like that. And so it's an interesting thing overall. There's a lot of problems with our current president, and they have been highlighted very well in the news media. I know I had an interview with, it was Martha Brockenberg. She had wrote a book. I don't even think this is up on the internet anymore because my podcast is being stupid. But on Xandercast, I had her on, and I was discussing, how she was discussing all the evidence that she used because she wrote a book called Unprecedented: The Story of Donald Trump. And so it was an interesting book. But she was explaining how she got the evidence, how she pitched it, and how it stood out versus the others, because a lot of news media likes to basically run based on reaction. That's what news is. News here in America is literally just for the reaction. It's just
it's no longer about the fact or what's right. It's, hey, what will you
tick
listen to those views?
it's to tick people off. It's to tick people off, honestly. And yeah, that's it's for the reactions. And that's very unfortunate. But like she went through all the evidence that she used. She even did so much as to express that her family was her family were Republicans, and were very pro Donald Trump. But she was writing this book about, like, with complete evidence, and it was actually really nice and refreshing. So double check your sources whenever you're getting the news. That's the only thing I can say. Double
And
check.
I'm going to add one little thing in here real quick. This is our opinion. We are not going to feel about any one person, but from my own personal opinion, Donald Trump can go suck an egg.
Yeah, I think I'd have to input, I know, like we said before, politics is a big no-no, and yet we've managed to go on a giant rant about it, but it's like, I don't live in your country, I don't know much about your politics, I know bits and bobs, because obviously, news. But in my personal opinion, there are a lot of things I could say about Donald Trump that I won't, for the sake of I want to keep my position as a host.
I think we're past that point, to be honest.
I think honestly, but like Drew was saying, this is our opinion. We don't want you just to watch one thing or listen to one thing. We want you to check multiple sources, like I was saying earlier. Double check.
Do your own research. Come to your own conclusion.
Yes, that's 100% all the way, because, like we said, news media is there for the reactions. I mean, there's a little bit of facts here and there, but mainly it's for the reactions. But if you go here, you get a little bit of information from here. You go here, you get a little bit of information from here. You can make a conclusion and you can figure out what's going on.
I think a really good example of discussing how the media works nowadays, actually, and how it's kind of formatted. This isn't sponsored, and I don't actually know the person, and they're already big enough to not need shouting out, but I think a really good example, especially in song form for this, is it's called Channel 5 News, and it's by the artist Bo Burnham. I'm not sure if any of you all have heard of it, but it's like, he does very realistic, down-to-earth, dark kind of songs in the name of comedy, and I think that is definitely one that actually identifies with the modern life crisis that we're definitely having, in that the media is just, it's all for a reaction at this point, and everything's exaggerated and bigger and better and more, I don't know.
This guy named Eric Bischoff, he's big, powerful dude. He was head of WCW back in the 90s, early 2000s. He went on and talked about how, wrestling is about reactions. So he knows a lot about, this type of stuff. He was talking about how he tuned into the news, and he's just like, I don't watch the news anymore because every time I tune in, it makes me mad. He was like, because that's one thing that we created that they pushed on. We created the whole reaction thing. But yeah, he was saying, like, we created the whole reaction thing. And that's what it's for. It's just reaction.
Yeah, it's another issue that we're having to deal with in our modern society at this point. Anyway, Xander, I know you are the host in this episode, but I would like to say, with all kind of due respect and the fact that this conversation has carried us for a good 25 minutes,
yeah,
maybe it'd be a good idea to move on.
Actually, can I plug one last thing real quick about the news?
Go ahead.
There is a game out there that pokes fun at the news a bit. I don't remember exactly what it's called. I'll get back to you on that, and we can put it in the description or something.
I think I might
But
know what game you're talking about, actually.
Markiplier played it, and it is
Yeah,
actually.
Jack played it too.
Did he?
Jacksepticeye. Yeah, I watched him play it. I know exactly the game you're talking about, and it's the one where little guys jump off platforms.
Exactly, where you have a little screen going around. All the bad moments and all the good ones are basically thrown away, and everyone takes from the news and becomes what they view, and it's a vicious cycle.
God, that's like 3 of them at this point.
Yeah,
Well, now that you mention-
so since we're moving on to a different subject, what do you guys want to talk about? I can't think of anything.
Let's talk about video games since we're on the topic.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead.
Played any good games lately, guys?
D&D.
Oh, yes.
Not a video game though. It's a game. There's a big difference. Although it did inspire a lot of the video games.
Actually, I recently found that I have the original Fallout on my computer, and I tried playing it for about a good 20 minutes and realized this game is goddamn impossible. You have no idea what you're supposed to be doing.
I think there are a lot of good games that I enjoy, but there are not a lot of games that I play frequently anymore. I don't know why. I think it's because it's like I've got to the point where I'll play a game for a while, but it becomes a bit repetitive, especially in PvPs or games that don't really have a story or objective. It's just kind of like play to win. They get a bit kind of dull sometimes for me. I don't know. There's only so much motivation I can have to play with them.
Yeah, I know the games you're talking about, where it's like, oh, you do this for about this amount of time, and then game over, rinse and repeat.
I think a good example of this, and I'm literally just saying this so we may or may not be able to put it into the title and get epic views, is Fortnite. Where it's like, if you ignore the save the world mode, which I haven't played because I'm too broke to afford it, rip my life, it's just you can play with your mates. Oh, you can only play with them on the console you're on though. Want to play with your mate on PS4 when you're on Xbox? Tough luck. I know they might be getting that sorted, but still. It's like, it just kind of, I don't see how people can play it for hours and hours on end, because to me it's fun for a bit, and it's fun to play with your mates, and I could probably play with my friends for a couple of hours, but like, there's only so much you can really do with it, I think. I don't know though. What's your opinion? What's your guys' opinion on the matter?
I mean, I don't play mini multiplayer games anymore because as you said, it gets repetitive after a while. I mainly get a game and to play the story, put it on a shelf, get busy with another game, come back to it in a few years, and be like, "Oh, I forgot about this game. I forget what it's about. Let's play it." And then the cycle continues with other games. So really, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't play multiplayer games anymore for the reason that it gets so repetitive. Get to checkpoint A, keep it, kill this person, get to that checkpoint, do that. Cool. Why?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely one as well for story-driven games, because it's like, I think most of my favorite games are story-driven. I think there's just so many shiny examples that I could call out that I won't, because I don't want to be like, hey, look at me, I'm proper edgy, I like all the popular games, give me attention. But it's just kind of like,
Hashtag only indie games.
pretty much, but it's like, there's a lot of games that I enjoy that are story driven. Most of the games that I enjoy are story driven. But I just kind of think that the novelty of multiplayer will wear off eventually. I'm not too sure though.
Anything to add, Xander?
Sorry about that. I'm back. There was a slight issue, but we're good.
I think
Xander,
Xander's
you there,
having
buddy?
audio issues again.
Oh, frick.
Things popping up like he's
I don't
talking.
hear him at all.
He's not said it on the chat. Oh, God. what should we move this conversation into? Because, like, no offense, guys, I'm not trying to be rude. We've managed to keep this conversation going for a while, but it's like, I feel like over time we're starting to hit more and more kind of blocks of things. I don't know, though.
I mean, yeah, I see it too. Like, the conversation's starting to, like, die down.
Yeah. I think maybe we should find, what's a topic that we could all relate to, talk about, that wouldn't be too much of an issue for the podcast, because we talked about, I love how we broke the number one rule of no politics.
Right. With the owner starting the debate.
Yeah. I think my thing is with politics, I don't like I said when it all kind of kicked off, I was very quiet during a lot of it until towards the end, because it's like, I know so little about what goes on in your country when it comes to politics. Obviously, I know what the media tells me, where it's like, Donald Trump is bad, but Hillary Clinton is also bad. Good thing you don't have to
Right.
vote.
Can you guys
Yeah,
hear me
I'm
now?
here.
Oh, yeah, we're back.
Okay, good.
Hey.
Glad it's working now. But yeah, so yeah, we did break the number one rule. And I feel like there's times that we, you can say that you want to like stop using certain subjects, but then they're gonna come out some way somehow. We just want to refrain from it. So it's not really that so this is the only time you'll ever hear us discuss politics on the podcast. But yeah, so an interesting story coming out of the news. We were talking about the news earlier. An interesting story. Apparently, real life zombies are happening. That's fun.
I heard a tiny bit about this, but I'm really confused about what's going on, so someone please offer an explanation.
Honestly,
Yeah, I
they're
haven't heard
stating
about
that
this.
it's coming from like diseased animals, and I've seen so many posts on Facebook,
Yes.
and I'm like, I've had so many people saying, "Oh, it's fake, you can't contract these," and I'm like, I don't even know what's real or what's not anymore. I'm just like, can you? Because like, I'm afraid that like they're saying it's coming from deer, and I'm afraid that if I touch a deer, I'm gonna become a zombie. I'm like, oh, well then, okay, but
Yes. So,
Actually,
this
you can contract stuff from animals. Things from the zoological barrier can jump over. Mad cow disease was one of those things. When we started eating the brains of cows.
yeah, but they're saying that you can contract zombie diseases from like deer and opossums and things like that, and I honestly don't think that any of that is true because unless someone comes up saying, "Oh, I've contracted a zombie virus from this animal or this animal," I'm not gonna believe it.
So, I actually know when someone mentioned, when you mentioned mad cow disease, Drew, I actually know, thanks to the internet and Article 13, please don't destroy us, Article 13. There's a channel I watch on YouTube and they were discussing whether the zombie apocalypse could actually theoretically happen. And they mentioned diseases like mad cow disease and how it could kind of transfer and how it changed mentalities and stuff like that. However, something is telling me, especially since, Alayna, you mentioned it came from Facebook. I think it sounds bad, but the Facebook mention to me just kind of made me go, hold on. Because it just kind of sounds like one of those big crazy things that someone made up to tell their kids to stop touching deers or get them turned into a zombie. Like, don't stay up past this time at night, otherwise the boogeyman will get you. It just kind of sounds like one of those things that a mom would make up to stop their kids
Yeah,
from
it's
doing
called the
stupid
zombie
things.
deer disease.
Yeah.
Don't honestly feel like deer can contract. Well, I mean, they probably can contract a lot of diseases, but honestly, I don't think it's real.
I'm having great difficulty believing that it's real.
I mean, if y'all want to be really frightened, there are actual zombies out there. Just not the kinds that you think of.
How so? Like people who actually died but then being revived kind of zombies? Or
Yep, those kinds, but not people.
oh,
See, the one I was gonna bring up was fungus virus. that afflicts ants, surprisingly enough. The fungus is transmitted through the hive, and it will actually go into the brain of the ant. Yes, they have brains. And it will take over the brain of the ant, killing it, and then controlling its body to go up a tree, get underneath a leaf, and die, for good. And then this little sprout will come out of its neck and drift more pores down on the ground to infect more ants.
I actually know about this one too. Funnily enough, it's not me. This isn't me trying to go, I'm an intellectual, I know stupid things. But the channel I mentioned earlier, I'm assuming film theory or game theory.
Yeah, I actually heard about it from Game Theory.
Yeah, so Game Theory is one of the most educational channels out there. They provide a lot of theories and stuff. However, I think it's time for us to get ready to cut the podcast off right here. We will see all of you next time. Next time is gonna be next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Riveting podcast.
It has been a riveting podcast, yes. We will see all of you guys next time. Again, apologies for us and our issues getting this week's episode posted in time. However, it's out, so yeah, you guys should cheer and clap. So, like I said, we will see all of you guys next time. I'm Xander Simpson, and this is the rest of the Just Talking podcast cast, and we're signing out.
До свидания.